All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of Car Talk. We appreciate you. You know what it is, everything in our car scene, our industry, our culture, our community. I am Big Mike, your host, right here with.
Ryan Bossery from Rywire.
And you know what, guys? We appreciate the questions and the interaction. And one of the things that we've been getting is a little bit more personal, right? We're talking about these subjects that are broad. We all think about them, we experience them, we wonder about them. But people have been asking kind of a little bit more on the personal level, what is going on with us individually, car wise? What are we doing? You know what? And I feel like there's a lot more to that than I think some people would realize innocently. You guys just may
Yeah.
not realize that there's a whole hell of a lot that goes on to make it look like there isn't that much going on.
Oh yeah,
You know?
for sure.
So, I mean, Ryan, let's kind of go in that with you, right? I mean, one of the questions we both get is, what cars do you currently have personally?
Okay.
And I think that that's cool, but you know me, I'm always the one trying to like make people understand that the list might sound cool or crazy, but once again, there's a whole fucking shit ton
Yeah.
and time that went into that. So let's start with you, right?
Yeah.
What is going on? Well, no, let's start with the stable.
Okay.
What do you, as Ryan, as an individual,
Sure.
have as your car
What
collection?
cars? What cars am I driving? What cars do I
What do
have?
you own? Yeah,
Well, let's see. So, every day I drive a blue S2000.
Suzuka Blue.
It's got some iBox springs, and that's kind of the extent of the
Right, right.
modifications.
That's it.
It's got about 210,000 miles, and
Is that the original power plant?
I believe so.
Okay.
It was a salvaged vehicle I got for really cheap. Belade helped me. They are like, oh, customer crashed a car and
Oh, that's
a couple
right.
of little.
You just had to
It
put
needed
some.
a little bit of stuff, a
It
little bit
needed
of
a. It
TLC.
needed a little bit more than a little bit.
That was a
I
lot.
remember that actually.
So that was kind of a whole job in itself. But got the car for cheap. It's
Mhm.
very reliable. I had like an FRS and
The white one.
yeah, I had a white FRS, and then I had the BMW E46 M3,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to like scale everything down. And the S2000 was always like a dream to have, just a stock one,
Yes.
and that's my daily driver. So that car, and I love driving it. Like I sold the FRS, I sold the BMW, I sold these cars, so that one would be the point A to point B car.
Sure. Sure.
Um, I have a '07 Tundra.
Yep.
Okay, that one is pretty much intended to tow my enclosed trailer,
Yes.
but also has proven to be very valuable for house renovations.
Yes.
So,
we'll get into that.
The Tundra is definitely a valuable vehicle. I so that vehicle I have my GT3 RS, okay, and that one, that's the '07 orange, matches the Integra, right? Have the GT3 RS, and then I have an air cooled 911.
Mm-hmm.
The air cooled 911 is at a fabrication shop right now, and it's like just literally a shell.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be something. I got an engine for it. I got a gearbox
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to compile parts.
That's gonna
It's
be a really cool build.
It's a very long term build, but it'll definitely be a really cool one.
Oh yeah.
So I have the two 911s. I have the Civic, the EA Civic,
The Wonder Civic.
the Wonder Civic from Japan. It's back from the Peterson. Have that car. And then I have. What else do I have? Oh, the EVS 2000, of course.
Right.
That's like kind of a collaboration car with Alex from Belade.
Yeah.
But it's my car. So that vehicle, and there's a lot going on with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do I have anything else? Am I forgetting something?
No,
I don't think. I think that's kind of
I think
it.
you just hit it. Yeah.
So we talked in prior episodes about the Orange Integra and the fact that it's in Japan.
Yep.
So if you guys, I don't remember what episode that I spoke about that,
It was
but
a few
I
ago.
did get in pretty in depth with where it is, why, and what it's doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, kind of more or less, it's Yasu's car now, but
Yeah.
it's kind of my car in a sense. And
Yasutaka from Exceed.
yeah, Exceed Japan took that car over. So that is far, far away land right now.
Mm-hmm.
The plan was to go visit it this year,
Not
and
happening.
actually, the plan was to bring it on the track in like Tsukuba Circuit or
That would be
one of
so
the
cool.
tracks.
No,
Uh,
it'll happen.
it'll
You just may
happen.
not be there when it happens,
Yeah,
or
true.
whatever. Yeah.
So anyway, that's that car's not really like mine per se anymore. It's out of my hands, so let's call it not mine. And that's kind of it for the stable.
Yeah, for the collection. You know, you guys, I'm always that person who wants to make sure that there's like a certain voice of reason, and I mean, a lot of you guys that follow us are our age, maybe even older, have done the same or more builds, etc. So it's going to be an easy thing for you. But you know, I like to speak to the new followers and subscribers and the younger generation because I want to make sure you guys are grounded. I want to make sure you guys, you know, if you're here listening and watching this type of content, there's already something in you that is inclined towards a certain type of content, a certain level of maturity and a style. This isn't us acting all crazy and yelling and jazz fucking hands, and we're just talking to you guys. And if you're here, there's a reason for that, and so we appreciate that. And if you believe that people from your peer group, your age group, would also benefit from this type of content that isn't about burning out or doing two steps. It's not always about a build. It's not always about launching or dyno tunings. This is about life and car life, and that's why it's car talk. So the only reason why I say all that, guys, is because you know, you listen to the list that Ryan has, and in many ways, it's very impressive. You know, he just talked about he sold his older M3, had an NSX, which I have been very sad about in previous episodes because that should have been mine. So NSX,
It was on. I just got a message from EJ. I think it was.
yeah,
He said that it's for sale right now.
from the guy who bought it from you, or has
Yeah,
it
from
moved?
the guy who bought it from me.
You'll tell me the number after. So you know, so anyways, Ryan's had the NSX. He's had the M3. They're gone, and you know he listed what he has, and you know two 911's an older one, but a GT3 RS is, let's be honest, right?
It's a fun car.
It's an amazing car for all the various reasons. So I guess I just want to make sure that you guys understand that that is not an easy thing to accomplish. There is a lot of work, and I'm going to just, whether you want me to say it, I mean, I've been working with Ryan on as a friend and business level to some degree, whether like just buying parts or sending people to buy parts and just simple things all the way to outright full-blown builds and late nights and stuff. And that is a cycle that's proven to be very productive and successful, and we're going to continue that. But you guys, I've witnessed 7 days a week for 10 years. Let's just go with that. It's longer probably. Sure, there was a couple of 6 day weeks, but there's also some 8 day weeks where you're like, you know, you don't fucking sleep.
Yeah.
You're not eating enough. And you guys need to understand that that's not family money. That's not the lottery. That's fucking work. And Ryan won't really say that for himself. And I want you guys to understand that that's 7 days a week for 10 years. Just go with that. 7 days a week for a decade. So even if it was an 8 hour day, you're still working a good old regular 8 hour day, but 7 days a week. And they're not 8 hour days. They're 12, right? Averaging 12
Yeah,
to
I think I work
14
about
hours.
12 hours a day.
Right? And I've seen it
At the moment, it's normally around 8 to 8.
right now.
Yeah, 7:30
You
to
guys,
7:30.
that's a 12-hour day.
Yeah,
right?
and my lunch isn't like a lunch break.
Right.
It's like
You
you know,
eat while answering an email or on the phone
Yeah.
or sketching something. And you guys, the only reason why I bring that up is because, you know, we've talked about this, and it's, you know, I'm the philosophical guy, is that it's easy to watch social media and YouTubers and us even and just sort of think, well, I'm here and they're there. And I want you to understand that there is no separation. All it is the journey. And we all have to go through it. You'll have to find your way to achieve your dream car or cars. We all do. And don't be discouraged if you listen to his or anyone's posts that just show these like crazy cool cars that you want to have or do, and you're not there yet. I always want to keep you guys. We are here because we've stayed grounded. We are here talking to you because we have never allowed anything minuscule or major to get to our heads. And I just want to drive that home, you know? And you guys, I feel like there's a certain connection to you guys watching because you're asking, well, what's going on in your life? Forget car talk necessarily. It's about cars, but what's up with Ryan and what's up with you with your cars and stuff. So that's Ryan, and I don't know you didn't really want me to say all that, but I mean it's real, you guys. This is real. It's hard work, and some people will work very hard to have just one of the cars that we mentioned or he mentioned, and that's okay too, right? So, anyways, all right. So to answer the same question that people ask, I've always been torn between what I can afford, what I want, what I should get, what I should not get, what I have space for, and I've always erred on the side of less, as much as that's been difficult. And what I mean by that is, if I didn't do that consciously, I would have probably about the same amount of cars, 5 to 8 cars, and they may not necessarily be extravagant, but I would have. We've touched on it before: an EF, a CRX, an EG again. I have an Accord wagon right now. I would have another Prelude, a 4th gen that I shouldn't have sold. It's a different story. So that's already, we're at 5 or 6, and then we're not talking about a truck for parts hauling or towing. We're not talking about, everyone has the nicer weekend or daily or, date
Right.
night car or whatever. So it's dangerous, right? Because I don't have extravagant tastes in that sense, but the reality is that I've given up a lot of stuff on purpose because I make myself err on the side of less rather than more. So I have my Prelude that most of you guys know. That's like the art piece car, the statement piece car, and then I have an Accord wagon, and then I have the Super Incognito Daily that no one will ever know it's me in it, and I do that on purpose. And that was up until recently the entirety of what I had.
Yeah.
And then a certain sets of circumstances kind of came to pass, and I ended up acquiring another car. Yeah, I don't care if this episode should be coming out after that episode on my personal YouTube channel, the vlog about it. But whatever. That's kind of that. So that's me. I keep it really minimal. I've had the opportunity to buy a couple of right hands from Japan as things have become legal. And, because we're in California. So all of you watching from like Florida and stuff, fuck you. Because you guys can register the shit out of stuff. In California, hell no. Like, if you bring stuff from Japan and it lands in Jersey or Florida, you're golden. If it lands in Long Beach, customs in California, you are fucked, okay?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different situation.
There's plenty of guys that,
They
work the angles
Yeah.
and bring it in from Florida and transport it and get
VIN swaps and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
and there's companies that are I don't know, they're getting stuff done.
Right.
So-
But most of those are all still under the 25-year rule.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in Florida, they'll register the shit out of anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
I don't know.
Like anything. So, and I mean, hey, I know a lot of you guys out there, and I pay attention, and I think it's great that you get to drive around these like super dope ass cars, and you don't have emissions either. Over here, it's just not the same.
It's like you have this car and then you can't really like modify it now, and then you have like a stock like EG6 or something, and
if you guys are wondering,
it's like you can't touch it.
We have been pulled over. I specifically have been pulled over, and an officer has specifically looked at an EG. Well, it was a U.S. chassis, and said, "Oh, you changed the headlights because those don't have the alignment nipples." Right? You guys, all my Civic heads know what I'm talking about, right? So, 5th gen Civic, aka EGs, U.S. headlights are glass and they have protrusions, nipples for alignment. DOT alignment. The JDM headlights, plastic, no alignment nipples. Cops who have been trained, they give you a ticket for that. Some of you are like, oh yeah, and some of you are like, shut the fuck up. Oh, I'm dead serious. It seems to have totally cooled down in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever.
Yeah.
But we've gotten tickets for it.
Because the new like Rice Rockets are all the V8 cars now. And
Yeah, acting like lunatics.
Yeah, so then they're really in California, at least they seem like they're targeting those kind of cars a lot more.
Well, you know, which is kind of a good thing for us, but at the same time, the FRS community, I think, blew up so big, and there were so many people
Yeah.
that also started acting like douchebags that the FRS community kind of got targeted. I think people still get in certain places on an FRS that's loud and
Yeah.
lowered, they get their hood popped now, and that used to be a Honda thing all day.
Yeah.
Right?
Honda only.
But but yeah,
having your
so
head
so
popped.
that my collection's very simple, very minimal right now, and
Yeah.
I have a couple of cars that as much as I don't want to spend the money because I have other investments and things I'm trying to do for myself on a longer term. I feel like kind of like our episode about the rise of the Japanese car and just prices in general. I'm like, I feel like I might just spend the money now because
Get something now while it's
yeah,
not
there's a
too
couple.
late.
There's a couple. And luckily I'm sort of into like relatively unorthodox chassis. Like Accord guys like Accords and like Accord wagons. Other than that, nobody wants an Accord wagon, right? Even if it's a 90s Honda, it's not the 90s Honda that anyone
What if it's
wants.
the mail truck one with its right-hand drive?
Okay, now there we go. But which you guys remember from the other episode about the whole mail thing. Oh, by the way, all of you guys that commented on that, like giving in-depth explanations, thank you. Okay, so that's me, and I talk about the stuff that Ryan's gone through that I've witnessed because I've known him for a lot of years now, and I've seen the work. It's not like speculation. I think he did all that. That's what I've seen with my own eyes. So even now, we've both put in 10, 12-hour days, and we're here together making car talk with you guys and for you guys. So we appreciate you asking. So that's like the personal collection. I look forward to this new build. I think it's going to be a little bit therapeutic in a certain way.
And you want to keep it zipped for now?
Yeah. I mean, please take the time to go to my personal YouTube channel and you can see the vlog series, and I'm going to cover that whole process.
So you're gonna cover the whole build, everything that you're doing.
Yeah. I've kind of like planned it out. I really want to keep it very simple. I know that's what everyone says, but I very genuinely have the self control to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna keep it very simple. But you know, I think my simple would still be nice to some people. And then I think maybe later on, it's actually gonna be a good platform to go. Maybe kind of crazy,
Okay.
but right
yeah,
now,
you kind of told me a little bit about the engine stuff. And
yeah,
whatnot.
like not trying to be all vague, guys, but you'll see it and understand it so
soon
much
enough.
better. Yeah, it'll be so much better in the vlog because I'll show you everything. So, anyways, so that's kind of what's going on with us, and I mentioned space a moment ago, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it, and I was talking to Ryan, and I feel like that has to be something that a ton of people are going to relate to, because not everyone has their own house, regardless of their age. Many people are renting, so like all of you guys that live in apartments, what do you have? One carport space, or do you have a townhome or a condo with a garage? But if you have more than one or two cars, where are you guys putting them? Is it in the visitor parking? Is it on the street? For those of you guys that have houses, if you have a small driveway, every night do you park it on the street? Like, how are you guys dealing with that? Because I feel like space might be this real life practical just roadblock to
Or
people
maybe it's
buying.
just California.
Maybe
Because we see it as like
maybe
you have literally potentially 2 parking spaces.
right.
Like that would be the normal person would potentially have, unless they were significantly wealthy.
Sure.
You would have potentially 2 safe parking spots.
Safe spaces.
But then if maybe you go out to like Tennessee somewhere,
You
where
have
it's
like a quarter acre or half an acre.
yeah,
and you
where
can
you
park
have
like
a
20
barn,
cars. Yeah.
and you have just like the barn. You clear out the barn at some point in time, and then you have like a full functioning shop. Like I don't know.
So my guys in the Midwest, the South, the East Coast, Florida, wherever. Like, where are you guys parking your cars? Right? Like, is it safe enough where it's on the street and you don't worry? Because in California, nobody wants to park their Hondas on the street.
Oh yeah, I don't even park my daily S2000 outside.
And it's other than iBox Springs, the shit is bone stock.
It's bone stock, but
But-
it has black seats in it,
And
so
people will fucking
so I
steal
know
it.
and I know how easy it is to get into the car
Yeah.
to just take the black seats, and then I'm gonna be like, well, now what do I got it? You know
So
what I
even
mean?
the stock S2, doesn't have wheels, but just the seats get stolen. So it's kind of like what do you guys do with space?
Or
you
the
know?
car just gets taken, of course, like whatever.
Or the car will get taken. So,
Yeah.
when it comes to space, I feel like that's like this, like really kind of big constraint that I think a lot of you might be experiencing because you have your daily and you have maybe the project car. So okay, so let's go with two. If you had the opportunity, a great deal for this chassis, for that chassis, do you guys have you had to pass it up because you had no place to put it, or did you say fuck it and you bought it and then you're just trying to like, yo, my friend has extra space in his garage or shops or how
trying
are you
to
guys?
temporarily write out some stuff.
Yeah, like how are you guys doing that? Because that's also been one of my biggest things in California. You don't want to park stuff on the street. When I had an apartment, you know, if you have one carport space and you're not technically supposed to park in visitor spots, if they recognize it, the security in the street places, they'll tow it, right? So it's like, how are you guys doing that?
I lost a CRX one time because of that.
Okay, I didn't even know that. So you parked in a
I-
complex where you weren't supposed to?
So do you remember when I was like in college? I told you that I studied in Thailand for like
Yeah.
a couple months.
Yeah.
So I had just bought a CRX.
Are you talking about in Thailand?
No, I bought a CRX in America. I had just bought one in America.
Yes.
And then I went to Thailand
Yes.
for a foreign exchange
Oh,
student kind
and
of a
you
thing.
parked
And I
it.
parked it at my buddy Nick Castor's,
Castor.
at his like condo, and
Yeah.
it was just like a park. He's like, "Oh, you can park there. It shouldn't be a problem, right?" I'm like, "Okay," there for like a month or two or whatever. And he's like, I'll kind of keep an eye on it. I have the keys. I'll move it around or something like that, right? This was like a beater ass CRX, but perfect chassis for a project.
Mhm.
And it just got towed. And it like I don't know, 6 days went by, and then Nick's like, "Oh, the car got towed," right? And I didn't put it in my name and everything. Like everything, paperwork wasn't done
It
yet.
was in the other person's name still?
I don't remember, but I just remember that they would give it to me back, but by the
What were
time
the
I got
fees?
it was like $1,000 or $2,000. It was at least like $1,000 or $1,500.
And you were like, hell no.
And I was like, well, I mean, I paid like literally like it was like $500 for the car.
Yeah.
So
They just kept it.
they just kept it.
And it's funny because nowadays, if it was a perfect CRX base chassis,
Well,
they're
yeah,
like,
it would've been
we were
worth
like,
it.
oh, I'm paying $1,000
It
to
would have
get
been
it
the
back.
1,000 or 1,500 bailout. You would have been
Yeah.
like, all right, give me the car.
Yeah.
But this car was like, it was not for the time. It was
Yeah.
not worth $1,500.
I see. So there you go.
It like ran.
Okay, let's be honest real quick.
Yeah,
Did Nick actually start it and move it from place to place once in a while?
I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. I know Nick. Nick was probably like, oh, yeah.
It's fine.
And
It's
then
fine.
one day it's like, oh,
So I went to
yeah.
check on your car.
Yeah. Last time I saw it was a week ago. So there you go. Right there. He loses a whole car because of that. In one of the apartments I lived in when I was a bit younger, I ended up becoming really cool with the property manager,
Yeah.
the front desk person
Yeah.
of that unit, of that complex. And we ended up becoming real cool. I'm going to be honest.
It was a female.
It was a female, and we like low key had some vibes and shit. Anyways, and it got to a point where I was able to park an extra car. Excuse me, 2 extra cars in the apartment complex. I had 3. I had my CRX, my EJ Coupe. Oh, I missed that, by the way, Coupe. And that one was on Racing Hearts, one was on 5 Ziegen Beckett's, and then my EG was on. I think I was already on my Yokohama Advan, the SA3Rs. None of these things need to be on a public street.
No.
They will not take the wheels. The car will be gone. Okay?
Yeah.
Racing Hearts, Advans, 5 Ziegens
So-
should be gone.
No problems.
Okay, in 3.5 years at that apartment complex, the car, 2 of the cars were broken into once each. One, they were able to push a little maybe screwdriver or whatever in the molding, and then move the window down enough to like move it down and without breaking the glass or the regulator, and then reach in. I don't know if they had a tiny arm, unlock it, so it didn't really damage the car. They just took my head unit and a couple other stupid things. I had like EG6 SIR amber, climate control and stuff like that.
So they knew enough to grab that.
Enough
stuff.
to and they like and they like used a screwdriver. Probably they're in a hurry, so like the bezels were all like chipped and stuff. And it was easy to replace that back then. Now it would be like the worst, But anyways, and then the other car, they just shattered the window because I had visors. I had the visors.
yeah.
So instead of
So instead of trying to, they
they
can't
just
really get
fucking
in there.
shattered the glass.
Yeah.
And then took. I had. Do you guys remember the JVC L Chameleon head unit?
I do remember that.
Right?
Yeah,
It was like the
I remember
cool-
the name. I don't remember exactly.
It
what
was
looked
just
like.
it just flipped and it was black.
Oh right.
But anyone who knew
And then
anything about audio knew that was the fucking JVC L
Yeah.
Chameleon, right?
It's like a complete moron would look in there and be like,
Oh,
"Oh, there's no
head
stereo
unit.
in there."
Exactly. So that they
It's like-
stole that and luckily they didn't try to take the wheels or the car. They just I guess they were just I don't know, crackheads, meth heads. They just wanted whatever they could grab. I did low key have some money hidden in the car, and they found that. But anyways, but in 3.5 years, fixed up Hondas. What are you gonna do, right? They didn't steal the cars. But then, if it wasn't for a little sauce, a little energy with the landlady, and a couple other things, I wouldn't have parked them on the street, or I
You
would have.
probably just been forced to get rid of them.
I would
right?
have probably been forced to at least sell one of them. And I'm wondering, is that really, does everyone just have a tale of that kind of like, I couldn't buy or keep one of my dream cars or dream project cars? But I don't know. Like now, for those of you, kind of back to like, what are you guys doing or how is it going? But to tie it in with space, I have to go back to you, Ryan, because kind of going back to 10 years of 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for 10 years, 7 days a week, you get to this point now where I'll say it because Ryan won't. Rywire's grown to a very respectable level, and there is continued growth. And on the subject of space, Ryan, I just had to bring it up, right? You have mentioned that he's doing his house right now, effectively building his dream house. But how have you integrated your addiction, fascination, love, whatever the right word is, of cars, and specifically your cars, into your house build?
Well,
Because everyone's got a garage, Ryan.
Yeah.
But let's talk about
So,
what you did.
temporarily, it's kind of a problem.
Right.
So let's start with that. There's a lot of projects in the back of my shop,
The shop, yeah.
that need to be completed, and there's reasons for them not being done yet, holdups here and there.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, generally I have a little bit more space, and it's kind of a mess right now. So I'm not staying at my house,
Right.
because it's being completely remodeled.
It's literally
Like
a house build.
it's a
Not
It's-
like we're painting new colors and putting new carpet. It's fucking
it's like
ground up.
when you're building a car and you put it on a rotisserie and it's down to bare metal, and then you're like, well, since I'm in here, I'm just gonna go ahead and recoat the bottom
Right.
of the car.
Right.
Oh, since I'm in here, I'm gonna go ahead and weld these things onto the chassis. Okay.
Oh, it's up on the lift. I might as well take off every piece of
And
suspension.
have it all
powder
powder
coat.
coated.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like
That's
that,
what he's doing to his
that's
house.
kind of the equivalent. So I'm taking the bones of my house, I am adding on a bit,
Mhm.
and then completely down to the studs
Yeah,
and new everything.
everything.
And we're even like kind of pushing the limits on some stuff.
With like zoning and codes.
no,
and stuff?
not with that, but stuff that's not typical of home builds. So we're actually like new shit, like that new shit. So we're doing something on the exterior. We had something called zip system.
Okay.
And the zip system is basically, think about plywood. My house didn't even have plywood when it was originally built.
Yeah.
It was a construction of 2x4s, insulation, and then stucco with paper in between it.
Okay.
So like the boards, paper, some lath, and stucco.
Yeah.
There's no plywood in that mix. Okay.
Okay.
So we took everything out of the studs. We put plywood. We did this zip system, which is basically like, think about a piece of plywood that's dipped into this like specialty process where then you could put tape on it.
Okay.
And then the entire house is like sealed. So it's called a zip because it's like,
The
Right.
entire house is sealed.
you just got to look it up. It comes in like green and brown. is like kind of the boards, and then they tape everything and glue it all together, and the house is sealed at that point. Like you can't like the penetration of like insects and stuff like that. It doesn't even really happen.
How many people, be honest, knew what a zip system was for a house? And I didn't. But
yeah.
if you did,
It's-
I
it's-
want you to
it's
put that
pretty
in the
cool.
comments right now.
Another thing that we did
Because I didn't.
was we did a section. We did the house two-tone,
Yeah.
so that it's gray, kind of like a concrete stucco.
Yeah.
And it's a acrylic stucco, which isn't even used on homes really. This is like a industrial building kind of a stucco, really high end.
Yeah.
And then we did it two-tone, so I have gray and I have black stucco, and that's
It looks
really
good.
it's really rare, really neat.
It looks really good, you guys.
And then we then did an addition, and we actually have what you were getting at
Mm-hmm.
is
This is what I wanted you guys to hear.
I just have a small, modest 2-car garage, but I have a back roll up garage door.
As in, you have the garage door from the driveway, go inside, another door opens up.
Straight into an additional space
an additional space.
that's going to act as living area
Yes.
right by the kitchen and the office.
Which he can look through.
Look
Looking in
through.
the kitchen, you're cooking, drinking some water, and you get to look over and
And we have a car will be parked right indoors.
indoors.
Yep. So my kitchen will literally have a vehicle on display, and through that is a 4-panel sliding door that's about 20 feet long
Mm-hmm.
and about 9 feet tall,
Yes.
and it just slides out of the way.
Or
And then-
you look right through it and
Sure,
admire
you
what's
look
there,
right through it,
and
and
you
then
get to
that
step
that
out.
opens out to a hardscaped backyard, all brand new in-ground pool that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Flush deck. So there's a like a ipe wood deck that's literally right at the coping level.
Dude, the amount of photos we're gonna take.
It's pretty wild.
You guys, so the term that I would like to use here is an atrium.
Oh, so the atrium is the entry of the home is basically outside again.
Yes.
So I restyled the house, so instead of walking into like a courtyard
Right.
and then into a front door,
Yes.
I put a front door out at the fascia of the home,
Yes.
and we're doing a big 8-foot by 4-foot wooden pivot door.
Mhm.
So the hinge access is not on traditional hinges; it's on a pivot. So you open it up; it's very modern. It has like a big pull,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk in. There's like storefront windows in the front that are going to be like a white tinted glass that matches the garage door, and then you enter this outside space, and there's entry to the home would be in a sliding door.
Right.
So think about it: if we have guests, you open this pivoting door from outside,
Mhm.
and then they're entering like this kind of serene like space that has we did like these wood panel walls,
And
it's
you might
all-
fuck around and have a couple bonsai trees out there.
yeah, and then there's like black stucco all in the courtyard,
Yeah. It looks really nice.
and then it's gonna be all hardscaped with poured pavers, in-ground planters, and then floor to ceiling windows, and you just kind of walk in, and right now we're getting all the flooring done in new concrete.
Yeah. So you walk in,
It's pretty nuts.
and it's a beautiful living and dining room to your right, and to the left is the kitchen. And oh yeah, you're looking straight through at the other car parked
inside.
inside the house.
Yeah. So,
So like, let's say for example, I'm gonna say we because I'm fucking totally gonna be there often,
Oh, yeah, we're
especially in the backyard of the pool.
I can't wait to do like little photo shoots and
Dude,
stuff
when we're
there.
chilling
It's gonna be cool.
in the pool, you look over, and, you know, the wood he described and this like layout, and most likely the GT3 RS Porsche is fucking sitting there next to the pool, like
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
And like that's the shit that you guys see online. Now, I'm letting I like forced him to really get into describing this because you guys, we're talking about space, and there's only space in a 2-car garage. It's astronomical money to try to make to get zoned. You don't even have the space to try to go 3. You could try to go tandem, but instead of going tandem, it turned into you can Imagine come home, guy. You come home, right? You roll up, you hit the button, right? Your garage door opens. You pull up, and if you're trying to keep that shit low key from the neighbors, you hit the button. Your garage door closes, and then you're just like to the other remote, and this other door opens, and you continue driving and stop on this wood platform facing your in-ground pool. That's the setup this dude has, and it's fucking sick. How does a person do that? About 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for 10 years, and still doing 12 hours a day. Because that shit right there, when you're matching your cars to your home, there's a few guys doing that. There's a few guys doing that.
Definitely a few guys doing it.
That's like the next level, is that people are remodeling mid-century modern and other types, but incorporating like what we've seen, these like mega garages or very artsy homes where people are parking cars like in their living rooms and shit like that. And so Ryan's style of it was to do it in this like open air yet inside yet kind of outside style.
I kind of had to work with what I had, right?
Sure.
An option was to sell the house and get something that was a little different.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of really cool architectural homes in Southern California. But I didn't want to move. I live in Huntington Beach, and I really like Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of like those mid-century glass homes in Huntington.
Yes.
There's a few, but I just decided that I like what I had. The bones of the house were really, really good. It's a very square, modern design originally. Just happened to be.
Yeah.
It's an industrial style home in the sense of it has a parapet roof.
Yeah.
Which, if you know what that is, it's like even like my shop that we're here at right now. It's a flat roof, but it has a little bit of an angle, and then the water runs to like, essentially like a hole down a drain.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common with industrial buildings. So the house was a good candidate for a very modern design.
And you guys, I'm sure when it's done, because it's pretty close, there will be a fair amount of photos and stuff that well, shit, I'm gonna be taking. Yeah, they'll circulate. But
I'll probably be pretty modest with anything that I post on. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is still your home.
I actually have another Instagram page that I just kind of like.
I mean, it's your home. Like, it doesn't need to be all out there, but it's a dream thing to accomplish. I'd
love to be able to do some photo shoots though. That'd be really cool.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't
not
realize,
not even my car. I'm just saying, like, do. Like, I said do, but I meant like Sam Do's like, hey, I got this car that I need to shoot.
Yeah.
Cool. Use
well,
my
even
house.
His white Supra would look super dope in there.
Anything would look good in there.
So you guys, like,
I took a little extra in that room space.
Right.
So I could really have like a really cool backdrop. So one of the things I did was the ceiling is all slatted wood.
Yes.
And it's like an ipe wood. So it's all this really nice like red, texture, and it's all like slats.
Yeah.
Right? It looks really cool. There's 2 big ass skylights, 10-foot high ceilings, which is, pretty rare for
and for people who are our height, it's like really high.
Tall. Yeah. And then the backdrop of the wall was, so I really wanted to do like a pour in place wall.
Okay.
And then board formed concrete. So what board formed concrete is, if you look at a board, there's all these lines of all the years of the wood grain, right? And what they do is they take these pieces of wood and they put it in place, and then they do a pour, and then when you pop it off, you have all the reveals of all the wood. Okay?
Yeah.
If you've seen this before, it's a really cool architectural thing, and all the boards that sit together, you see it like the concrete kind of spits out, so you see these little lines, and it's the beauty of the inconsistency of everything.
I see.
Anyway, didn't fit the budget. I mean, they want big money to do a board form concrete wall. So what I did was I had this guy in Fullerton, which is just right here. He makes these custom panels.
Okay.
Which he takes a mold where he takes real wood, he pours concrete in it, and he makes tiles.
Okay.
So what we did was we did this board formed concrete tile wall. And I'm talking, the concrete guy that's doing my concrete floors walked in and went, damn, you did a board formed concrete wall. So I'm like, okay, that solidifies that
This is something
This-
super fucking cool.
Well, the fact that I didn't need to do the whole wall pour in place.
Yes.
And that a concrete guy came and said that is a board formed concrete wall.
Yes.
So I did the tiles and
Yes.
it looks exactly like,
Right.
you know. So it's gonna be a great backdrop for photos and stuff.
You guys-
really, really cool.
All of this talking, it will speak for itself when the photos come out, etc. So the whole point of all that was, and I basically forced you into bringing all that up, and you can hear the excitement of it because you're talking about a dream home, and
Dude,
it's
I've
like a
been-
very real dream happening right
Just
now.
to kind of clarify this, or like to understand really what it's about. My wife and I, we actually have been designing this home in a 3D program called SketchUps for the last like 5 years. So like literally since I bought that house, I sold a condo, and I bought a a standalone home, and since we bought that house, I literally have been building in my head what I wanted it to ultimately
like people
look
render
like.
cars and try to make them real. He's been rendering the house.
We put furniture in place. We did everything. We were just
change colors, slide this, add that.
changed
So
roof,
cool.
We were changing roof lines.
Yeah.
We were changing everything.
That
adding,
app is really fucking cool. By the
adding
way,
yeah. Oh yeah, it's so cool.
So cool.
Adding windows, just building the house the way that we want it. We got with the architect and said, "This is what we envision."
Yeah.
And then, just like any good architect, he's going to crush your dreams. With that being said, he's going to tell you, listen, you can do that, but to get that through all the codes and all the planning of the just making it actually something,
Sure.
especially when you're doing a renovation and it's not a new build.
Okay, so what he was saying, it'll take too long and cost too much.
Yeah, so like we in some of our renderings, we had like open corner designs where it was like cantilevered.
Yeah.
And then you would literally slide 2 doors open, and then the whole corner would just be a cantilevered open space. I wanted it to be where you walked into the atrium, and then you would open 2 sliding doors, and then the cantilevered corner would be your entry into the home. It would have been freaking sick, right? But he was like, that's gonna push you over your budget.
Okay.
Just doing that. So he kind of crushed my dreams, but we really were able to make something that's amazing
Yes.
for to fit within the budget that we had.
And he gets to rotate cars
Yeah.
in this extra space. Aside from being in the other garage safe, you just get to rotate your cars. And that's a really fucking cool thing to be able to see. And I'm telling you, he is not explaining it well enough. Like, you guys have to see this thing, okay?
It's gonna be really cool.
I really feel like it's a beautiful example of you get to a point where you can do these types of things if you prioritize, if you work hard, as cliche as that sounds. But you guys asking, this is the reality. Like, when it's not work, that's the passion. It's not just the cars. The passion's in the dream home. And I have a similar situation conceptually, not literally. So I have a home, and I have, for those of you guys that are a little bit older, a little more experienced, you have things like equity ELOCs, equity lines of credit. There's ways to either, if you have a lot of equity, take out a lot for the lowest APR about you could get.
Especially right now.
Go crazy on the current home or use it as a down to get another.
Dude, right now, like refining, it's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. I know a couple people that locked in like 2.2.
Wow.
1.8, I heard.
Oh yeah, dude, I just did a 15-year.
Yeah.
And I got 2.6.
Okay.
But that was also like 7 months ago.
Sure.
If I were to have not, rushed into it so quick.
Well, at one point, some people said it was at 0.0. And I don't know if they allowed anyone to lock that in.
No, I don't think so.
But, okay, so for those...
That's wild.
A lot of you guys are going to know exactly what that is. And for those of you that don't, when you buy a home, let's use an easy number. You buy a home for $500,000. And by the way, I was going to say 100, but there is no $100,000 homes in California.
No.
I'm sure you can buy a $100,000 home somewhere else. But, okay, you know what? Because it's a $100,000, right, for a piece of land or a home. You could probably do that like in Tennessee,
Yeah.
right? Idaho. Okay, $100,000. I don't know, 10 years ago, right? And you end up, the house will be worth, let's just use another easy number. Real estate's booming, blah, blah, blah. 10 years later, it's worth $200,000. Now, you bought it for 100, your mortgage is for 100. And you either refinance and all that equity will go into, it'll damn near pay itself off, or you borrow against your equity to redesign the fuck out of your house.
Yeah, or even if it's a simple renovation,
Or
whatever the
it's a
case
simple,
may be.
you can
A
borrow.
lot of people borrow. Some people borrow to buy cars.
Right.
But
So
really, a lot of people borrow to put
the,
it back into
smart
the
thing,
home
the smart thing to do, in
make
my
it
humble opinion,
worth more money.
unless you're following like the P car trend or the Japanese classic car, and you're buying them to flip them
Sure.
in 1 year or 5 years or 10 years, whatever. But anyways, with good credit, a home equity line of credit is about the largest amount you would ever get approved for, because they can take your house away if you don't pay it back, versus just you as a person having a good credit score. You might get approved for 50 or 80, but on your home you can get approved for $500,000
Yeah.
if you really wanted to, and then you could put 100 into your home, and then it would appraise for about 130 more. You ride that out, then it might be 180 more, blah blah blah.
So there's a formula to it, and it's actually a smart thing to do if it all makes sense.
If it all makes sense. So my situation is a little bit more on the fundamental side, because I have these options, and I have not decided. I won't sell any of them, because whether it be rental
No,
or not,
it's
that's
always gonna
forever.
Yeah, you're always gonna have. It's always money in the bank. At that
It's always money in the bank. But I'm trying to decide if I'm going to take ELOC, and just fix up. So there's tiers, right? I have a similar aspiration as far as being inclusive of cars and having space to have more cars. And so the side of the house is well more than wide enough. So do I just eliminate and just concrete and then park cars? And I have a really high wall on one side, which is actually higher than you're supposed to have, but whoever had it before me got the zone for it.
Yeah.
Because it's way above 6 feet.
Is this the home that I've been to?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And so on this one side,
Yeah, you have space right there.
there's a lot of space.
Dude, you could easily add it.
But what I'm saying is the wall's so high that even if I added like a canopy or a metal canopy, like a carport type style, it wouldn't be a visual obtrusion to the neighbor, because it would still stay under my wall line.
What if you even the front on the front facade of the house? What if you even put like a breeze block or like a block kind of wall, and you can put some plants in it, but then that can act as a partition,
Right.
Like another stall where you don't see the car really,
Right.
and it's like a carport,
Right.
like almost like a carport built off of the 2-car garage, but you can make it nice to look at by doing breeze block or just nice blocks.
Yeah.
And then like some plants.
Okay, so there you go, right? All these options as far as visual and stuff like that, and I want to include at least the ability to have extra cars and behind lock and key and all that, but also protected from the elements, because I mean just parking them there is parking them there. But anyways, but here's the thing. I also believe that I should have land, because I believe that I should be planting my own food. I think that a nice strip could be just a couple of vegetables, a couple of vines, not on some doomsday prepper shit, even though low-key having food that you're growing yourself is like kind of cool. But I'm talking about, like, I'm super into that. I mean, longevity is a longevity in whatever you apply it to. Business, health. So, having some fucking carrots, basil and cilantro and shit, it's kind of cool, man. So I like low-key want to get into like a tiny little garden section in the house. But the point is that I'm kind of stuck right now. I have space for cars. I've actually got a respectably big driveway, and the neighborhood's fine enough that, I mean, if someone tries to come to my house, they're gonna get fucking shot. But there's a lot of car space, but not necessarily enclosed or hidden. And I'm like, how do I potentially do that, Or do I not do that? Let that be what it is, take money, and then go buy something that's a little bit more befitting of these like longer term ideas, or has the foundation like Ryan's ended up being to build off of it. Not like I wouldn't do what he did, but the idea of making this ideally, hopefully, well built from the ground up home and just contemporizing it. And all of that stuff is in answer to the literal question that we've been asked, is the type of stuff that weighs down when we're not making car talk. Ryan running Rywire, myself. I think a lot of the loyal followers already know, but my other career is in healthcare. And that's something that I've probably said out loud like 5 times in the last 10 years. And it's not because of any reason other than because certain parts of life are private, and it never really occurred to me to put that out there. I'm proud of it. I went to university for it. I am very, very proud of that aspect of my life, especially in a time such as this where people are sick and hurting, and I actually do help people. Before COVID was a thing, and now that COVID's a thing, I'm totally exposed to that occasionally. But I refuse to use the word frontline because you have ER and ICU nurses and doctors and respiratory therapists, etc. They are full blown frontline. So I will not allow that word to be applied to me. But do I have to help and treat COVID positive presently patients? Yes. So there's that. And some of you who know me well have sort of known that. But most of you probably would have no idea because I don't say it anywhere. And that can be a very heavily weighing kind of factor of life.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, we're just going, right, and we're just telling you guys, but that's what it is. I mean, if you didn't know, Ryan mentioned he's married, he's got the home build, and all of that is well, not the wife, but the cars and the home build. It's like not second to the business, but it is second to the business, but it's not. And that's a weird kind of balance,
Yeah,
right? Because it's
very
your
true.
home, it's your life, it's you and your wife's home. But like a lot of people don't understand that is very taxing to run
Yeah.
the immensity of this. And in a similar scale, just in a different way, I have this like I need to be fully focused when I'm in my other career. The
Yeah.
people and the context of where I am deserve that. And I'm very, very aware of that. And I'm very reverent.
Especially right now, you have to be
Yeah.
extra aware.
Yeah. And so it's like you have the weight of that type of thing while also cars and all these plans and things we're doing is like second to when I'm there. But as soon as you have the ability to clock out, check out of that, you go in and you're all into that, and finding the balance between time for yourself, with yourself, a significant other, friends, family, and how you balance that with COVID right now, and then aspirations, plans, investments, whether that be investments in yourself, like planting motherfucking carrots and basil and shit, or gym time, or whatever. Like life it is difficult in a different type of way for all of us. And car talk, we get to sit here at in Rywire location. We have this wonderful ability to create this content with and for you guys. But when you guys asked, and I could tell it was very sincere, well, what's going on with you and him individually and collectively? We decided to be very open and kind of talk about things that would most likely never really come up. At least not in car talk.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more open. Those of you that are on my IG, we have the live streams, and a lot of stuff is just simply not off limits. We talk about, people are stressed, people are angry, people are sad, people are looking for advice, and we all talk to each other. And in this case, cars bring us together, and sometimes we can kind of delve a little bit off that. But in the end, that's what brought us together. So we're kind of like aware of that. I hope that kind of gave you guys a glimpse and answered every angle of the question. Well, what is going on with you guys in life car-ish related. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that there's anything, Ryan, that you would want to touch on or like say in this context?
Um, Not really. I mean, I guess you know every day is a struggle for me, just prioritizing with things that I need to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the business has been really fortunately amazing. We've been working with Turn 14,
Mm-hmm.
and Turn 14 is giving us some great business. They're buying a lot of stuff. In fact, like just recently, they made a purchase order that's like 3 times bigger than any other purchase order they've ever made.
But that's also, and not just they've ever made. Isn't that the biggest purchase order you've ever had, ever?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ever.
yeah.
See?
Well,
It's amazing.
we've had similar like Turn 14's old biggest order.
Okay.
We've had orders that big before.
Okay.
Because we do a lot of private label stuff.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
these private label wire looms, there we've had harnesses. They they're maybe not huge wiring looms, but companies that have bought up to 1,500 pieces at
At
once,
one time,
and
yeah.
so that can equate to a lot of volume. So Turn has done large volume before. This current order is now 3 times larger because it's going to 3 different
Oh, their
facilities.
warehouses.
They have three warehouses. They have a Reno location,
Mm-hmm.
so they have Nevada. They have Texas, and then they have their PA.
Yep, I've been to the PA ones.
So because of those 3 locations,
Mm-hmm.
everything is 1 day shipping away. So that's their strategy. So if you guys think about that
If you
on a
order
map,
before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard
you'll
Time,
have it the next
it'll
day.
ship the same day.
Right. So you'll get it right away.
You're talking
like,
Amazon
1 day.
Prime-ish.
Yeah, it's pretty much like an Amazon Prime kind of a deal. And yeah, like their facility, it's all automated. They literally like have one guy slap the sticker on the box, get it out the door. So
Yeah, you guys,
I
it's
mean,
super fucking
we're
cool.
at 3 locations now. So in theory, if everything is all stocked up proper,
Yeah,
you own, Joe Schmo Blow's repair shop,
yeah,
and you need an adapter for a distributor,
okay,
or you're doing a um, an engine swap,
sure.
and you need a full harness, right? You can get one or two of those, or all those products, literally in 1 day.
In 1 day.
So that's how they're set up, and we're finally, after 1 year, we're in all 3 locations now. So it's definitely changed the game for us. It's
For sure.
It's like a big thing.
Yeah, big shout out to Turn for their growth.
Their growth
Daryl.
and helping my growth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
Who are those are like really car guys like Kyle, Daryl. Those are car heads. These are
Yeah.
not like suits. These are not just business people that like found a desk job, a corner desk job in the automotive industry. These are car heads.
Dude,
And
the owners of Turn, like the 2 owners, I got to meet them one time when I went to visit the facility for like training courses and stuff, and yeah, man, they're young,
right,
they're just very smart,
very fucking smart,
and they know
ballsy,
how to
intelligent.
they know how to grow businesses.
Yeah, yeah. It's really amazing, you guys.
And they're car people.
And they're car
they're
people.
absolutely 100% into it.
That is another example. Like when, they say that show me your friends and I'll show you who you're going to be in 5 years. That's what a lot of people say, mentors and business people and motivational people, etc.
Well, you surround yourself with like-minded individuals,
You
or you should.
Or you should. And that is a testament to a journey, because if you asked him or me, would we have done X, Y, and Z? Would we have been on this, and this, or on this, and that, and have accomplished blah, 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 blah? We wouldn't have any way of knowing, right? Some of the stuff is beyond what we would have even tried to exaggerate as a dream at one point. And in some ways, there's monetary examples of that, and in other ways, it's a little bit more philosophical, But being able to, choose to carve out time to create this type of content with and for you guys is it only exists because of the journey, right? It's not the end; it's the process, and that is something that I drive home a lot on my personal podcast. So very unrelated to cars. It's very much about mindset and thinking, which you guys already know that's like where I am as a person. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the industry, being able to contribute in this way, content, conversation, thought provocation, and also literally the products that make every build that's out there. And working with companies that basically are in some way involved with anything that's happening, right? That is a beautiful thing, and it is not luck. It comes from time, effort, I like to believe, being a good person, being authentic, and just dedicating yourself to what you believe in, and then just as importantly is doing the work. I just did a pot. I fucking
Yeah.
just did an episode called "Fuck Your Passion." If you
Right.
guys,
The last
the
one that
last
dropped.
Think
Right?
Bigger podcast episode of my personal podcast is called "Fuck Your Passion." And it's basically that. Everyone's always about, I want to love what I do. They think it's this romantic Disney fairy tale kind of process, whether it be about car guys and their success or whoever you see online or whatever. Man, no. It takes time and it takes work. You can love it or hate it, but the person who does the work, whether they loved it or hated it when they did it, the person who did the work is the one who's going to get to where they're going, not the person who kept trying to say, I need to go find a job that I love every day while someone else is working on something. And if you guys really want to just explore that in a broader sense, please take the time. I believe that the content's worth your time. So, anyways, I feel like that went deep, but also scratched the surface for those that asked about what's going on with Ryan and I. And we appreciate you listening, subscribing, and asking a relatively personal question.
Yeah.
And we have more episodes dropping for you guys. Thank you. Please continue to share it. And as we grow together, we can help to bind the community and have a place of conversation and growth.
Yep. So
There it is.
tell everybody about us. Subscribe, and we appreciate having you.
There it is. We appreciate having you. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of Car Talk. Take care.